Hello everybody and welcome to the NBL1 show. A couple of weeks into the NBL1 season and already we're seeing some surprising results, but when it comes to the women's side of it, two outstanding, clubs and teams are leading the way. Cameron Luke, Liam Santa Maria, hello to you.
Thanks, Cam. Good to be back in action.
I did see you actually braved the cold last week and went to Ballarat, so
yes.
We're going to get to that very shortly. We are joined on the desk here at NBL1 show by the superstar, not only Dandenong Rangers, of course, Opals or 3x3, all the rest of it. Bec Cole, hello to you.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Might start with you because, you know, one of the teams that I speak about, Bendigo being the other one, in the women's side of NBL1 have had really good starts to the year, and you must be fairly pleased at how it's all going within your team right now.
Yeah, really happy. We just have a great bunch of girls and a pretty free-flowing game that's fun to play, and, you know, 3-0 to start, you can't be much happier with that.
And always, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but as we look at some of these highlights, as you go into the year, is this the team that, you know, you got on the floor where you're expecting this type of start and the way you're playing your basketball and to enjoy it and work together so well? Is this any surprise for you?
I think the group is quite new, so it was a bit surprising, you know, to gel that quickly. But the thing is, we have some great younger girls who have, you know, amazing talent and are just wanting to chip in. And then Amy Clardsdale and Colleen Planetta are just killing it as well. And it's, like I said, it's fun. We just want to run and ball out, and Whitey lets us do that.
This round two, you got the two wins. They were over Diamond Valley and Southern Sabres. They are now both, 0-3. Coming into the weekend, was this kind of like a to get the job done type of weekend? They're not like headline matchups. Oh. You got it done. You
questioning strength of schedule there, Liam?
Well, I'm just saying. Who have they beaten?
Your answer, Bec.
No, so normally with double headers, especially if one's away, you'd be happy with a split. But going in, I think with
not
the team,
this one.
no, going in with the team that we had. Me personally, I was very confident if we played to our strengths, we could get it done, and we did. And
having a look across the league those first few weeks, you see the rosters taking shape during the pre-season, but over the first couple of weeks, you get to actually see some teams in action and who they've got. You guys as a squad looking at this league going, yeah, we should be trying to win this thing.
Yeah, of course. You don't go into a season ever thinking, oh, no, I just want to come fifth. You want to win. So I think, you know, we have a great bunch of girls. If we keep going every step of the way, just like other teams, they're going to get better and better every week. It's going to go down to the wire, I really think it is, for that top four spot. So it's going to be an exciting league.
Hey, obviously, there's so much going on in basketball in this country at the moment. A 3x3, which you're so heavily involved in, NBL1, of course, Opals Camp, which we'll get to in a moment. How are you finding fitting it all in and making sure you stay fresh physically and mentally as well? Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. So I did buy a calendar diary to make sure I'm organised. I'm type A, so it's all highlighted. But
beautiful, done.
Everything is, you just make sure you communicate with your coaches early, and you just got to stay fit and physical and athletic, and you just got to keep making sure you're recovering well. That's pretty much the main thing from all of this, because like you said, it's a lot going on.
Opals Camp for you this weekend, of course, so you missed the NBL1 game. I think you've got Ballarat
yeah.
Ballarat. Yeah. How is it when you're going to be in and out of some games, and of course communication's key, but when it comes from a team perspective, how much is it going to disjoint? I'm not necessarily wanting you to be honest and tell us because you're out, they're going to be weaker, but like how much does it hurt, because you're not the only one that's going to be in this situation, how much does it hurt the clubs and the teams?
Yeah, I think what's important is that the other team members on the team realise it's their time to step up, which I think is an exciting thing, especially for our club. We have quite a few younger players. So, you know, we were missing Izzy Anstey and Rosie Fadjovic this week, and we got it done. Imagine when we have them two in the lineup as well. So I think we have enough players of such good talent in our Dandenong team that, you know, I think we'll be okay, and, you know, it's their time to step up.
You had a breakout season in the WNBL last season, runner-up MVP, All-Star 5. You do a lot during the off-season. You know, right now with the NBL1, the 3x3, how much confidence do you take from those kind of competitions into the WNBL?
Oh, it's massive. It really is. So, you know, I'm in the gym making sure I'm strong and I'm fit. That's the foundation. And then, you know, 3x3 is just so exciting because for me, it's that switch in your head that it doesn't matter if you stuff up because you just got to get on to the next play. So everything you do is attacking and confident. And then in the NBL1 league, for the 5-on-5 game, I get to practice stuff that I'm, you know, working on in my individuals, which is really exciting to do. And, you know, by the end of the season, you see those tools adding to your toolbox. It's a really exciting and fun thing.
Against Diamond Valley, you played against one of who I think has been a standout performer in the first couple of rounds, Annalie Maley.
Yeah.
She had 3 straight double-doubles, 2 of them enormous, nearly 30 and 20 kind of numbers. What kind of future do you think she has?
I'm really proud of Annalie. She's been, through a few years of real hardship. So for me, I'm so proud of her. She's an athlete too. So for her to be able to come into this league, grow with confidence every week, she's doing the 3-on-3 stuff as well, which is exciting. I definitely think she's someone to watch.
Let's talk a little bit about Bendigo as well, because while Dandenong have had an outstanding start to the year, Bendigo, another one of those clubs that we all know have been so powerful for so long, have had a really good start to the year. Kelly Wilson's been outstanding, averaging a near triple-double to start it. This right now, and even in the early days, you can look at this probably back at this particular squad and say at some point down the track in a big game, you have a huge chance to meet them.
Oh, yeah, look at them. It's like almost a WNBL team that, you'd be pretty happy to be on.
True. Yep.
They have those veterans as well that when you get to the harder games down the line, they're the teams that will end up winning that game. So, Bendigo, when we play them, will be a very exciting game. And, let's bring it on.
Kelly Wilson's, we talked about her numbers in round 1. Yep. In this week, in that game against the COE, she had 22 points and 14 assists. And in their win over Ballarat, you're watching here, there's Gabrielle Richards going to work. She had 22, 8 and 8. And on a star-studded team with Richards, Payne, her sister, Tessa Lavey, she's just killing it. She's the early MVP?
Yeah, I rate Kelly. She can do everything, and especially in this league. And I know I'm not on her team, but I love watching Kelly and Gabe play. That's just that's real nice. Coming off screens, doing what they do. They've done it forever. But, if Kelly keeps playing the way she is, which is sort of unstoppable at the moment, real MVP favourite.
Great starts for Bendigo and Dandenong, yes, of course. And Nunawading's another team to be expected to have a really good year coming into the NBL1 season, and obviously still a long way to go. But they had the dreaded, because I think at different times people are going to have to go to Hobart in both the men's and women's side of it and have a pretty tough time of it. And they did. A loss, of course, Kayla George played for Hobart, which will be her last game, but then they really snuck away one against Launceston as well. So while it's not easy to go on the road, and you spoke about doubles before, this is a little bit of a surprise to see them not be able to go 2-0 with the squad they got.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's early stages, and it's always that the first couple of weeks you're not consistent. I think that's what you find. You still finding your way. Nunawading have a great squad and great coach in Paul Flynn as well. I was a little bit surprised they didn't come out with the double win, but also they were just unfortunate that they had to verse Hobart when Kayla was still here. So.
27 and 17. And we said last week on the show, it's just bad luck if you draw Hobart in those first 2 weeks. She's off now and they'll get the new import in, but geez, if that was a loss to Kayla George, basically.
No doubt. And they're going to have an interesting weekend this weekend because they're in fact playing Eltham, who've had a really good start to the year. And of course, when you look at it, the non-Siebel teams and the big V teams that have joined NBL1, there's been a little bit of unknown about some of these teams. But Eltham, I'm not going to call them underrated, but do you think we've underestimated this Eltham women's team? Have had a really good start.
I definitely think people have underestimated what they can do.
Not you though. You obviously were expecting them to be good.
You have to go in. As an athlete, every game you have to think people are coming at you 110%. You've got to bring your A game. They've shown they can shoot quite well. Vanessa Panousis, she's probably one of their main stars for me. At least now they're 2-0. People have got to watch out now. You can't play soft.
I'm not sold.
You're a big strength of schedule guy though, so I can see where you're starting with.
They've beaten Diamond Valley and Waverley.
Okay, hey, you can only bet who you play.
Sure. One of them, I think, was maybe the champs of the Big V last year, and certainly they're both strong Big V teams. They've come up, taken care of business against those two teams. Let's see what they do against some of the big dogs.
Well, Nunawading is interesting because obviously they split last week, so they've got Nunawading this week.
And then they've
without being the massive dog right now, they're up there.
Well, and then they got Geelong the week after. So, I mean, I'm not getting carried away, but they've got some really good players. I was chatting with Greg Jeffers from out Eltham Way earlier today, and he was talking about Chelsea Schweers. She led the Siebel in scoring about 3 years ago down in Launceston or down in Tassie somewhere. Waratah League MVP, QBL MVP.
She was putting up 50s last year in the Waratah League. It was outstanding.
Yeah, and so she's trying to get naturalised, which is an interesting kind of
that's big.
element for her. And then they've got the new import that's come straight from the German league, Maggie Mulligan, who stepped straight off the plane and played on the weekend, who averaged, I think, a double-double over there. So, look, they've got some players, but I think they're a little shallower than some of the bigger teams.
Particularly like, you already threw shade at the strength of schedule of Dandenong now doing
Well,
Alpha, but you can only do, all you can do is win. That's what I say.
I gave Bec a chance to bring the heat with the MVP question, but she backed down.
All right, let's have a look at the men's side of it, because talking strength of schedule, and yet again we are really into this, but the Albury Wodonga men have had a really good start to the year, and they're full of highlights as well. And this is interesting because they are relatively easing themselves in. So much of the talk from up there was around Lauren Jackson and the women's side of court, and will she not play? But the men's have had a really good start to the year, Liam.
Yeah, well, their import, Kenjar Bosley, averaging 31 points per game out of Kentucky Wesleyan. And
he's got no conscience either, which we particularly like.
Well, he's going to work. And the crowd, look at the crowd.
Yeah.
In Albury Wodonga, absolutely loving it.
That's great to see. It really is.
He's putting on a show. He's hitting triples. He's getting into the paint, making plays, and helping them get off to a nice start. And that was a good win over Ringwood, because Ringwood in the opening round beat the Centre of Excellence, and that team is legit. They've got some really exciting young talent, and they went down to Bendigo, got the job done. They've got a couple of wins already, so that was a good win by Albury Wodonga.
Just before we get totally off into the men's, just Lauren Jackson and the talk, of course, a couple of weeks ago, and I like the idea of it. I believe even if she's at like 15%, she should play and just demand the ball and call all the plays for herself being the coach, and I think that'd be enough to get some of it done. How good would it be for the NBL1 and to have Lauren Jackson, if she's able to play a couple of games?
Oh, it would be amazing. Like, it's LJ. It's Lauren Jackson. Whether you played with her or you looked up to her, it would just be amazing to see her on the floor again. So even if you're matching up and I'd be like, oh, I'm playing with LJ on the court.
So would you be hoping that if she did just play one or two games, that it was against the Rangers?
Yeah, because then if you beat her, you're also like, I beat Lauren Jackson.
For sure.
Let's hope that it does happen, of course. She seemed a little bit reluctant last week as well, with wanting to get her body back to where she wants to be and where it would be. But hopefully she does get on the court. And I think, you speak about the crowd there, that's the residual, I think, from Lauren Jackson being so heavily involved.
Are they just are they not stating whether or not she's going to play?
No, do not rule her out until Albury Wodonga, the women, are no longer playing this year. When they're in their off-season trip in Bali, you can say, yeah, Lauren Jackson.
But those crowds are rolling in. Are they under the impression that LJ may play tonight? Is that what's happening?
Oh, well, maybe not under the impression, but I think the excitement around it. And keeping in mind, too, I think the stadium is named after her as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So she's, which means she automatically gets the start. If the stadium's named after you, or you have a statue, that's how it rolls. You did don the beanie and the scarf and the big jacket, and you headed to Ballarat. You've seen the Bendigo women beat Ballarat, but in the men's side of it, it was a different story. And this Ballarat team, under Brendan Joyce, who I particularly liked, he put the heat on Bendigo and said they've paid a fair bit of money, but he's put together a good squad himself, and Ballarat were really good.
Yeah, he did. That was Jerry Evans Jr. getting things off and running. Here's Denga Kuth in transition off the Sam Short, steal and kick ahead. It's a good squad. Short, Kwani. They got the import Josh Fox, the Fijian. Well, he's I think he's playing under the Asia Pacific rule, maybe, as a Fijian. Then they got Denga Kuth. They've got Jerry Evans Jr., as I said, and they've got the other guy, Marquise Coleman, who hasn't played yet. They're not rushing him in, has a hamstring injury. And Brendan's a great coach, right? And he's got the squad up and rolling early on. So I think they're going to do some damage. Interesting, Jerry Evans Jr. and Marquise Coleman, both out of the same University of Nevada. They played Deontay Burton, the new import for Bendigo, from the same school.
You know what I really like about Brendan Joyce? Because obviously with that Illawarra team, when they won a championship in 2001, and he still carries that chip on his shoulder, us against the world. We didn't have the salary cap. I hear him on radio talking about that. And he's got a perfect squad. if you look at the guys who are like Sam Short, who you mentioned, Denga Kuth and Kwani, guys who are in the NBL but haven't exactly been able to find their way into rotation yet. So he'd be using that as a way to motivate these kids and go, hey, look, you're there, but this is your time now to prove that you're improving each and every year. And I think the crew that he's put together and the kids that he's got to play, I think it's a perfect mix for what's going to be a big year.
I agree. They've got a bit of an interesting test this week on the road. Is it on the road against Dandenong? I think it's in Dandenong, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's
doesn't know. She's at the Gold Coast of the Opals camp.
Against Dandenong. And they're sort of up and going now. Sam Froling and Lucas Barker and the like. So that'll be an interesting test because I think, I don't know, I can't remember who. Oh, no, they beat Nunawading. That was a good win. Bendigo, I think, are going to struggle a little bit this season. So let's see what they can do on the road against the Rangers.
Just on Bendigo, though, because you did mention Deontay Burton, who is got some links. And we might look at what highlights we're going to show first. Here we go. We're going to show some old school highlights of who I believe is his uncle, Isaac Burton, who played for the Kings and was here in the NBL in the late 90s, who, geez, did he get above the rim?
Ice.
Jumps.
Absolute highlight reel. And this kid can go as well. I think he's an MVP candidate. This was his first game in Bendigo against the COE. He was just getting his legs under him. Arrived. Ooh,
it looks like he's just getting his legs under him.
And then he came out in this one. Ballarat got up 30 to 15.
Oh, wow.
Doubled their score in the opening quarter. And Deontay Burton came out and went nuts. Had 20 points at halftime, basically tied the thing up. And he kept the Braves in it against a really good team. Look at this finish.
Oh, what? That change of hands.
So he went up to yam it on Evans Jr. and then double clutched and was able to knock it in with the contact. He's legit. He's obviously got Ray Turner in the middle as well. They've got, I love the young kid, Dyson Daniels, son of Bendigo legend Ricky Daniels, 16-year-old, who I think is probably on his way to the COE probably in the next year or so. He's not putting up massive numbers, not doing a lot of damage, but he looks like he's got a good future ahead of him. But they don't have a lot else. So those guys are going to be fun to watch, but I think they're going to struggle to make the playoffs this year.
All right, you mentioned a little bit about the young core at Dandenong. Who've had a good start in the men's side of it as well. And Becky can tell us a little bit about what you think about it, because they have had a good start to the year. Barker and Froling, two players that have been very good early on. And you look at some of these on the men's side of it, Beck, they are a good young team who are playing some good basketball. They
are. They're a younger team than I think what they've normally had in the past. But Froling coming into the lineup, massive. He's just a good body. And Lucas Barker has been putting up some good numbers so far to the start of this season, which is really good to see. And pretty happy for Matt as well. He's obviously a great young talent and coming back from injury. Yeah. Awesome to see him back on the floor.
Hey, so have you watched their games the last, have been able to watch most of their games?
Yeah, I've watched a couple.
So how is Matt Kenyon looking? Because when he was with Brisbane, I thought he was he could become a really good NBL player. And obviously he's a free agent right now. I mean, is he playing at that level right now where NBL teams should be giving him a really good look?
I think if he's that young and he has played in the NBL, the Brisbane Bullets, I think this is his season to show. It always takes you a season to get back into it after that sort of injury. So he looks confident though. He doesn't look like he's going into the key like worried about anything's going to happen to him. So I'm really excited for him because. I've been through that as well, and I just want the best for those sorts of kids. So I'm excited to see what he can do this season. I think he's warming up.
Okay. I reckon he's one of those guys who may not get signed in free agency right now, but when pre-season rolls around, he'll get the opportunity to go on some trips. Yeah. Like what happened with Peter Hooley when he first got onto the Melbourne United roster, and go off to China, play with a team in pre-season and see what happens.
Two Melbourne teams, of course, gives his chances a little bit more as well. While we talk about the teams that have been really good to start the year, Frankston on the men's side of it have been a little bit disappointing now. Obviously, yet again, early days, and there's still a couple of players, Dan Trist, one of them to come back into this unit. But even the players that got on court right now, Liam Santa Maria, haven't really right now done exactly what we thought they'd do.
Well, Damon Bozeman has. He's a gun. Absolute. We saw him play for Melbourne United in the pre-season, last year? He played for Boleyn, I think, for a period of time. Then he went up to the QBL and put up monstrous numbers. And he's scoring well for the Blues. But they don't have much else going on. Iggy Hadzamerovic. For me, they're just treading water until Dan Trist gets here. But he's still a little whiles away.
You don't want to tread water and be zipping six. That's the thing. And look,
they're in a hole.
Majuk at, do you think?
Look, I've only seen the highlights of Frankston's games. So I haven't seen him play because he hasn't been on the highlights all that much. And I've hardly watched him play for a long time because he hardly got on the floor for the New Zealand Breakers. Yeah. So there's a feeling that maybe he's taken a bit of a hit to the confidence and needs to just kind of... But look, we talk about NBL free agency. There's a guy who we know. I mean, he's come in... He was leading the league in rebounding a few years ago.
He was a starter. He was a starter on the minor champ when they won that first minor championship. Melbourne United now didn't end up to a championship, but he was a starter on that squad that was the best team in the regular season. Yeah,
he was a starter on that squad with like an all NBL first team caliber big man behind him. He had Hakeem Warwick behind him.
True. Still got to start and put up some minutes.
Yeah, that was splitting time.
Gee, I tell you what, you've been very picky today. Strength of schedule, bench depth.
I'm saying. Look, I think he can play a role.
I agree.
I thought he was a really good signing for the Breakers that he just didn't crack the rotation.
It's true.
And if a team, and look, every team needs a guy like a backup five, like a Mitch Young or a Majuk or a, Tohi Smith-Milner at times has played the small ball five. So I think there's a spot for him in the NBL.
All right, this weekend, we won't start with you, Bec. I know you're not playing, you'll be on the Gold Coast at Opal's camp, but big game for the Dandenong women. Like, what do you have to make sure you do to make sure that you stay undefeated?
Yeah, I just think we've got to really just play our game. You know, we have certain strengths that we want to go to and we just got to keep going to that. We get Izzy and Rosie back, which will be, really good and make us a lot bigger inside. So I think if we just run the floor and play good defence for 4 quarters, I think the girls will get it done.
They're going to beat Ballarat. Have you seen Ballarat?
I've seen a little bit on the weekend. I've seen a little bit of your commentary on the weekend. So, yes, I did send a bit of Bendigo and Ballarat Saturday night.
Nah, they're not at the level.
So you're questioning again strength of schedule after Dandenong go forward?
No, I'm just saying it's perfect. Bec's not there. That's a good team to play.
No, fair enough. How about the men's? Anything stand out for you?
That same night, same venue, Dandenong Ballarat. Ballarat obviously are rolling right now. Dandenong, they're 2-1, so that's an interesting matchup. The Tassie rivalry, Hobart Northwest Tassie, will take place on Saturday night, and also the bottom of the table battle between the Southern Sabres and D-Max Knox Raiders, yet to get a win on the board.
Yeah, well, is it the NBL1 show curse? Because he was obviously in the show last week and still winning.
The Rangers will win, mate. The Rangers, don't worry.
There you go. On that note, keep, of course, you're locked on at NBL1 on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, the NBL1 YouTube channel as well to catch all the games. And we'll be back this time next week. Bec, thanks for coming in. Good luck for the rest of the year. Of course, 3x3 and the Opals camp as well.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.